Okay, let's unpack this. We're going to do a deep dive into, well, Paris. I mean, what a city, right? Instantly brings up images of romance, history, just, elegance.
Mm-hmm.
We've pulled together your sources, and our mission today is really to cut through some of the cliches, maybe,
Yeah.
and pull out those surprising bits, those insights that explain why Paris is, well, Paris, why it has this huge global presence.
Exactly. Yeah. This isn't just about listing landmarks. We're aiming to weave together the threads from the material, sort of connect the dots on how this city became such a powerhouse culturally, historically, hoping to uncover some layers maybe you hadn't thought about.
Okay, let's jump right in then. Paris. Obviously, it's in France. The capital sits in that Ile-de-France region.
Right. The very heart of things.
But the scale, that's what jumps out from the sources.
Yes.
You've got the city proper, around, what, 2.1 million people?
Yeah, something like that. But then the wider metro area,
Uh,
it just explodes. Over 11 million. It's massive.
that density, especially in the city center, kind of tells a story, doesn't it?
Mm.
About how Parisians live, that street life.
It absolutely does. It points to that unique urbanism, the houseman architecture, maximizing space, that vibrant feeling on the ground level, and of course, French-speaking, Eurocurrency, CET time zone, built right along the Seine River.
Ah, the Seine. It feels like more than just a river running through it. It's like central, an artery.
Totally. And that structure you mentioned, the 20 arrondissements.
Yeah, the districts, they spiral out from the center, right? Which is quite distinctive.
It is. It creates this almost logical unfolding of the city. Kind of fitting for a place that's often been ahead of the curve in urban planning.
And speaking of being ahead, or at least making a massive statement,
Right.
the Eiffel Tower.
La Tour Eiffel. Can't talk Paris without it.
It's the landmark, but the story behind it is, well, richer than just being a pretty tower.
Yeah.
Our sources say built 1887 to 1889, Gustave Eiffel's company, and it's tall, 330 meters, over 1,000 feet.
Yeah, impressive stuff. But the key thing, the really fascinating part, is why it was built. It wasn't intended to be permanent at all.
Right, for the 1889 World's Fair.
The Exposition Universelle, yeah.
Mm.
Specifically to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the French Revolution. So think about that. It's this icon of romance now, but it started as a monument to, well, revolution. A huge political statement.
That's quite a shift in meaning over time, and it was the world's tallest structure for a while, wasn't it?
For decades, yeah.
Right.
A record breaker. And millions still visit every year, going up those 3 levels, the restaurants, the views.
It's definitely taken on a life of its own, way beyond what Eiffel probably imagined.
And that evolution, from temporary exhibit to global icon, that kind of sums up Paris's ability to reinvent itself. Brings us to that famous nickname,
The City of Light.
La Ville Lumière.
And it's got that double meaning, which is interesting. The sources explain Paris, which goes way back, founded over 2,000 years ago by a Celtic tribe, the Parisi.
Became the capital in the 10th century.
Right. It was this major hub during the Enlightenment, a center for ideas, education, and intellectual light, you could say.
Exactly. That's one meaning. And then the other meaning is more literal. It was also one of the very first cities to get widespread street lighting.
Ah, okay. So it literally lit up, and it was a center of intellectual brightness.
Precisely. That duality is pretty cool. It makes you think about how cities earn their nicknames,
Definitely. It's always been this cultural heavyweight: art, fashion, food, philosophy, literature, the whole package. But okay, beyond the Eiffel Tower, there's so much more.
Oh, absolutely. Where do you even start? The Louvre Museum?
Right. Not just a museum. It's the world's largest art museum, home to the Mona Lisa, obviously.
And get this, over 38,000 artworks on display. Just imagine that scale.
Mind-boggling. And then you have Notre Dame Cathedral, that incredible Gothic building, still standing, despite the terrible fire in 2019. A symbol of resilience now, too.
Very true. And you can't forget the Champs-Élysées, that famous avenue.
Leading up to the Arc de Triomphe, another massive statement piece.
Mm-hmm. And just outside Paris, you've got the Palace of Versailles. Opulence on a whole other level, former royal residence.
Gives you a glimpse into that whole era. And for views within the city, the Sacré-Cœur Basilica, up on Montmartre Hill.
Stunning views from up there. And of course, just floating down the Seine on a river cruise.
Yeah.
That's pretty iconic too, especially at night.
Romantic, for sure. So with all this history, these incredible landmarks, it's no surprise Paris is seen as this global powerhouse, especially in art, fashion, and food.
Yeah, let's talk about art for a second. Paris isn't just an art capital. For many periods, it was the art capital.
You've got the Louvre, obviously, but also the Musée d'Orsay, the Centre Pompidou.
And think of all the artists who lived and worked there. Picasso, Monet, Van Gogh, Dali. The list just goes on and on. They flocked there.
What was it about Paris that drew them in, do you think?
Well, it became this sort of crucible, a place where new movements started, where creativity was just in the air. And then there's fashion. Paris is one of the big four.
Right, with New York, Milan, London.
It hosts Paris Fashion Week twice a year, a huge deal. And it's home to legendary luxury brands, Chanel, Dior, Louis Vuitton, Givenchy, Saint Laurent.
Icons. You can feel that sense of style just walking around, can't you?
Definitely. It's baked into the city's identity. And that leads us, naturally, to the food.
Ah, yes, the food. Legendary. Wow. Fine dining, incredible pastries, cheese, wine.
And those bakeries, you mentioned them. The sources say over 1,800 bakeries in Paris.
1,800? Wow, that's a lot of croissants.
It really is. And beyond the pastries and baguettes, you've got classic dishes like coq au vin, crepe, maybe even escargot if you're feeling adventurous.
Snails, right. Maybe not for everyone, but definitely Parisian.
And ratatouille, too. But it's also the atmosphere, isn't it? Those world-class restaurants, but also the thousands of little cafes, perfect for just sitting, watching the world go by.
Absolutely. A feast for the senses. Okay, let's switch gears slightly. Practical stuff. Getting around a city that big.
You'd think it'd be chaos, but the metro system is actually incredibly efficient. One of the busiest, yeah, but also one of the best in the world.
Good to know. And there are other options, too.
Oh, yeah. You've got the RER trains for going further out, buses, trams, the Velib bike-sharing system, taxis, even boats on the Seine, as we said. It's well connected.
And it's not just tourists and commuters. Paris is a major hub for education, right?
Hugely important. Think of Sorbonne University, Sciences Po, plus all those top-tier art and fashion schools. It reinforces that city of light idea, a center of learning and research.
Okay, here's a fact that really surprised me from the sources. The Statue of Liberty.
Ah, yeah. Great connection.
It was a gift from France to the U.S. Everyone knows that. But it was actually built partly in Paris.
That's right. Engineered there, components fabricated. It's an incredible link. A symbol of freedom recognized worldwide with its roots right there in a Parisian workshop.
Amazing. So when you pull all this together, the ancient history, the Enlightenment hub, the art, the fashion, the food, these global connections like the Statue of Liberty, it's just...
It's incredibly layered, isn't it?
Yeah.
Our sources really let us see beyond the postcard images and understand the sheer depth of Paris's identity. It's so much more than just a tourist destination. It's shaped history, and it continues to shape global culture.
It really does. So maybe the final thought for everyone listening, after diving into all this, how does a city like Paris manage it? How does it hold on to thousands of years of history so tightly, yet still stay right at the cutting edge of, well, pretty much everything, art, fashion, ideas?
That's the magic, isn't it? That balance.
It really is something to think about. We definitely encourage you to keep digging, keep exploring. There's always more to discover with a city this rich.
Please subscribe.